Okay.
which originally was founded as Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. It was expanded after that to be transsexuals and the entire gamut of different relationships, and having groups that we would speak with, which would include uh, gays, lesbians, uh, transsexuals, transvestites. We met with everybody and we talked to them. We tried to find out about them because it's so much more difficult to talk to your children about these issues than it is to talk to strangers. It that sounds strange, probably, but it's not. It's true.
It's not strange. It's not that easy talking to parents about um, this type of thing either. So,
So anyway, we went through that process. We found that we weren't getting enough out of it, and so my wife went to our rabbi and talked to him about it, and we decided to form a Jewish support group for basically the same thing that PFLAG does, as a support for parents, friends of lesbians and gays, but also for the lesbians and gays themselves. And it did very well for quite some time. We got members from all congregations in Dallas and offered to speak. There were not a lot of people accepting. And at that time, a lot of people didn't want to talk about it, even then when you came out.
and I want to commend you guys for that. At the time, I remember having to distance myself some because while y'all were coming to terms with things and trying to come out yourselves, I was, I think, afraid because I didn't know what was really going on, and I wasn't as secure with myself as you guys were becoming, and so I tended to distance myself, um, and it was it was a little bit alarming when you guys started asking me about my life. So I was actually shy at one time. Um, I don't know if that was just a side comment. Um, where were we? ADD's kicking in.
Anyway, we formed our own group, and I think we did some good. We There were a lot of people that came to one meeting, two meetings, three meetings. Some came for a year, but eventually we got to a point where most people we knew in the Jewish community were having less difficulty accepting their children's difference, and we put the group away because we weren't going anywhere anymore. Um, your mom and I have, since fairly early, my guess is about 6 months after you talked to us about it, been voluble about your sexuality. Initially, we only told best friends and close family members because it was an adjustment for us. We didn't realize that for other people it's not any adjustment. They don't really care. But people don't talk about it for some reason. I don't know why. Nobody cares about your children, that they're gay or straight.
But they
Uh,
do. People do like to talk amongst themselves about it,
they
though.
gossip. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's plenty of gossip about it. But we told anybody that made any kind of comment about gays or lesbians, any kind, positive or negative, we made sure to speak up and say our children are gay.
I remember when it was almost embarrassing because every time I went somewhere with mom and she would meet someone at a store and she would have a hunch that he was gay, then she would say, "Oh, my son and my daughter. Oh, we haven't gotten to your daughter being gay yet. My son is gay," and of course, it was right. Okay, I went on a tangent there, but what I do need to point out is that as many, or as pretty much a couple of my videos show, that I tend to dislike or disagree with some of the beliefs of organized religion. It was and is nice to know that there are um, religions out there that have stepped aside of traditional beliefs and are more welcoming to that. And part of that reason is because of people like you and my mother.
Well, we were fairly surprised when we organized our group. We got excellent support from the reform movement of Judaism. If you're not Jewish, there are basically three general categories of Jewish uh, organizations. There's the reform movement, the conservative movement, and the Orthodox, which is broken down into a whole bunch of different sects. Um, the reform movement is very accepting of gay and lesbians in their congregations, even to the extent that they have them as rabbis, cantors, who is the singer assigned to a congregation. Uh, Conservative movement has been slower, but they're now starting to do the very same things. Orthodox is still Orthodox. It's the same orthodoxy that you find in the Christian religions, that you find in the Muslim religion, any religion you can think of. The most Orthodox don't approve.
How does that make you feel as a parent of a gay child?
I resent it. If it ever comes up in conversation, I say, I don't understand how you can think the way you do. I mean, my kids are gay, and they're great kids, and they're perfect. They don't need to be any different. So, and that's the way most parents of gay and lesbian children feel. You know, it wasn't what we would have chosen, but now that it's here, that's the way it is, and we
What?
welcome them and any partners they might have.
How do you foresee, like 10 years from now? What do you think it's? I mean, because there's been such drastic change over the last few years, even. What do you think it's going to be like with the world changing and then these orthodox views? I mean, are they going to be alienated for being for having their strict views about?
It's hard. It's hard to say. I mean, we're seeing a big movement of the religious right trying to limit the rights of gays and lesbians. I think that they've been very successful, but I think they're doomed to failure. I think that the younger people, the children growing up now, are going to have a totally different attitude. Kind of like integration of the schools with the blacks. The African Americans that became part of our life, that doesn't mean it's perfect, but it's so much better than it was when I was young that there's no comparison. And I think that we're looking at the same thing in being accepting of other people, lesbians and gays. You had said, I hadn't brought up yet, that Laura eventually came out also as being lesbian.
And for those of you who don't know who Laura is my sister, and she's my only other sibling.
Which was not, at the time, by the time she came out, it was not a surprise. She had not been dating for quite a while. At the time, I'd say, Laura, what's going on?
All right, hold on a second. We're going to start and stop again with the next segment being lesbian sister.